What's up, everybody, and welcome to another episode. Hit the like button, subscribe to my channel, and share the video. Hit the join button and become a member. Why? Well, members get exclusive content. Hit the bell icon on my channel so that you'll receive a notification every time that I drop a video. And you can go and check the video out and leave a comment and leave a like. Earlier, I did a brief interview with Dubs on his channel. Go check it out. It's on his other channel. Dubs is spelled D-U-B-E-S. E-S or D-U-B-E-S-S. Punch in either one of those on YouTube and his channel will pop up. His other channel, Dubs, has two channels. He posted the interview on his second channel, I suppose his flagship channel. And we didn't discuss the interview beforehand as far as what questions he's going to ask. It's not really even an interview. It's really him and I going back and forth. He sort of brought up a couple of topics and we just sort of discussed them. But we didn't even talk about it beforehand, so I didn't know what he was going to bring up or what questions he may ask. I just sort of winged it. But it came out how it came out. I thought, I believe it's okay. Y'all go check it out on his channel, as I said. My guy Dubs, and leave a comment and a like on his channel for that video. In the comments on the video that I did, the interview that I did with Dubs, I'm gonna have to respond to a couple of them. I'm sorry, fuck that, because I know, as I said, my true supporters don't really care for me responding to the commenters. They like, man, the hell with them, we got your back, which I always appreciate. But sometimes, again, I just have to convey these messages to the commenters just to enlighten them, because sometimes they make these comments out of ignorance. And ignorant is not necessarily, it doesn't have to necessarily have a negative connotation. It's ignorant to the facts. Sometimes being ignorant it indeed does have a negative connotation, and it should. But sometimes you're just ignorant to certain facts, and that's understandable. There on Dub's channel, in the interview earlier this morning, somehow the subject came up about my arrest and me being in prison, in and out of prison. And I said on Dub's channel there in the interview that the system was racist. I said that the statistics bear this out, that from top to bottom to top, the system is racist and has been proven to be so. From bottom to the top, meaning that from the first part of the system to the very top of the system, white people have a better chance at beating the system than black people. In fact, every race in America. The statistics bear this out. Look it up. Has a better chance of beating the system than a black person does. Let's get into it. I said on his channel that a black person is more likely than any other race, particularly the white race. Let's focus on them. A black man, everything I'm about to say is a fact. Let's not deal with emotions and feelings, and instead deal with facts and factual evidence. The statistics bear all of this out. This is not conjecture. This is not me surmising. These are the facts, that a black man in America is more likely, to be pulled over than any other race in America while driving or even walking down the street. They've had situations where black men have went into Starbucks and been arrested for sitting down and having a cup of damn coffee. These are the facts. So that's the beginning of the system, of the police pulling you over. Sometimes, oftentimes, for no reason. We all have heard the term driving while black, etc. Well, it's also walking while black. It's also combing your hair while black. It's also sleeping in your own house while black. And they barging in your door and unaliving you. Barging into the wrong apartment and unaliving you. Never being held accountable for any of this. Shooting you in the back, etc. But okay, so a black man is more likely to be pulled over first. Once pulled over, be it by foot or in a vehicle, a black man is more likely to be arrested once pulled over than any other race, particularly white people. So first, you're more likely to be pulled over. This is a fact. Once pulled over, you're more likely to be arrested for the same infraction that Brad committed. Be it a traffic violation, be it having contraband on your person, having just committed a robbery, whatever it is that you're being arrested for, as a black man, the statistics show you are more than likely to be arrested than anyone else for the same crime. It's not that they didn't commit a crime, it's that you are more than likely to be arrested for the same crime that they did commit. You committed the crime and they did too. But you will be the one arrested before anyone else in America. How is that not racist? Because they said in the comments, there were a couple of them. One said the irony is that if you know the system is like this, then just stay out of it. Don't commit a crime. Someone else said, oh, well, here we go playing the victim again. We can't talk about a racist incarceration rate without talking about that same racist crime rate, is what the comment said. So he said, don't talk about y'all being locked up so much if you're not going to talk about the fact that y'all commit more crimes. But see, this is the media apparatus brainwashing the masses. Even some black people believe that black people commit more crimes than white people. Let me disabuse you of that notion. Did you know that statistics show that young white males sell narcotics at a higher rate than black men? This may shock many people, many of the viewers, because you have been deluded. You have been indoctrinated. And that's why you believe that black people have more of a propensity to commit crimes than anyone else. We are innately criminal, I suppose, because we are the ones that are locked up all around the country. So why are all the black men locked up? Well, as the commenter said, because of all the crimes that you commit. First of all, you have to understand why crimes are committed. Did you know that when the recession happened some years back, 2016, whatever it was, that they had a white man on Good Morning of America who was robbing a liquor store, and he had his weapon, a gun, trained at the employee's head, and he's saying, give me the money. And I remember that Diane, whatever her name is on Good Morning of America at the time, had said when she was doing the story that ordinary people are losing it now and committing crimes to feed their families. Ordinary people. He was a white man. What does that mean, ordinary? So when we're committing the crimes, what the hell are we? But this ordinary person was committing a crime. And the employee was asking him, why are you doing this? And he said, man, I have a 9-year-old daughter. I have to feed her. We can't get jobs out here. It's a recession. So when it comes time to them having to feed their family, when they get themselves in a certain position, they commit a crime too, to feed their family. Believe it. The reason that they haven't been in those positions really it's because of slavery. Oh, yeah, I know I'm playing the victim again. But we left slavery with nothing. We were promised 40 acres and a mule. It's a wonder that we are still a race and are still thriving in any way. It's really a testament to our strength that we still exist. Most races could not have went through what we have been through and still be in existence. And so the bottom line is that it's not that that other races do not commit crimes or that black people commit crimes at a higher rate than other races. That's just not true. You may believe that because that's what the system wants you to believe. But listen, I got off track. So my point was to the ordinary man that had did the robbery, that when their backs are against the wall, they would do the same thing that black people have been forced to do for many years. They didn't understand it until they were put in those positions themselves where they had to feed their families. This is not to justify crime. But me, myself, I always flouted the law. Even now, I in some ways flout the law. I'm going to abide by it because I don't want to go to prison, because I know that if I don't abide by it, my black ass is going to prison. Whereas other people who do not abide by this same law will not go to prison. Let's take Donald Trump, for instance. Was just found guilty of 34 crimes, some of them felonies. I guarantee you he won't do 1 day in prison because the system is rigged. The system is fixed. Let me get back to it. So what I said on Dove's channel was from top to bottom. The system is racist. First, you're more than likely to be pulled over. Then you're more than likely to be arrested once pulled over. And then, to continue, the statistics show you're more than likely to go to trial than the white person. So once you're pulled over and arrested, let's say you and Sammy are put over and arrested for the same crime. If for some miraculous reason he is arrested, chances are he won't be bounded over to trial. The statistics show that you have a much greater chance of going to trial than he does. This is how I'm explaining how the system from top to bottom is racist. Once in trial, should he make it to trial and be bonded over, the statistics show that you are more than likely to be found guilty in that trial than he is. Again, I'm referring to someone who is white or of another race, period, but particularly white, primarily white, who again is guilty, hypothetically speaking, and sometimes factually speaking, is absolutely guilty of the exact same crime that you are guilty of. Sometimes a worser crime. They're guilty too, but they're found not guilty and you are found guilty. And then, to continue, the statistics show that if for some miraculous reason this person is found guilty, the statistics show that you, as a black person, are going to get much more time than he's going to get for the same crime. There was a white dude in college some years ago, you all may remember the story, that had SA'd a woman in college in a bathroom or something. And the judge said that he had a good family, that he had never gotten in any trouble before, and so he gave him probation, and there was outrage from women everywhere. Whereas a black man would be on death row. Tupac didn't get probation for SA. Mike Tyson went to prison for it. This man admitted to it, had evidence against him, and eventually admitted to it, and he got probation for brutally essaying this woman in college, in public, in the bathroom somewhere. because a judge said that he had a good family background. Really? So you can be found guilty, like he was, of a crime, of a brutal crime, and still not go to prison. So it's not that my people commit more crimes than your people or other people. It's just that we're going to be held accountable for those crimes more than anyone else. So when I say this, I'm not playing the victim. I also said in the interview that there are black men who have never been arrested, have never been to the county jail, have never been to prison. I said that. I said, so I can't blame the system. I said, but once you get caught up in the system, you're just in trouble. The statistics bear this out, that you're more than likely than any other race to go to prison for your crime. Period. So don't commit the crime, then yes. There are also people in there who have not committed a crime. I can name countless black men who were later exonerated for allegedly essaying white women back in the days. They called them up, yeah, he did this, and they put him in prison for 20 years. Then when the DNA came along, the technology came along, we find out these dudes had never committed that crime. But he rotted in prison for 30 damn years based on this woman's word and based on racism. They say that black people need to just be more independent and pick ourselves up by our bootstraps. Stop complaining. Stop blaming white people for everything. Get your own money now. All that stuff is over. That's the past. Bottom line is you still benefit from slavery. You still benefit from racism. The racism of yesteryear and the racism of today, if you're not speaking out against it, you're complicit because you're benefiting from it. That's why you're not combating it, because you're reaping the benefits. Such as what I just named, that you're more than likely not to be pulled over to begin with. You're more than likely, once pulled over, not to be arrested. You can have a weapon in the car, have just committed a crime. You're not going to jail. If you do go to jail, you're more than likely not to go to trial. If you do go to trial, you're more than likely not to be found not guilty. If you are found guilty, by now somebody's at work. You done made it all this way. It's a damn miracle. I've been in miles, there's been one damn white person. Why? Because black people are more prone to crime? No, let me enlighten you as to why. They don't go to jail. They don't go to prison. They commit the crimes, but the system is rigged. The government is rigged. They were locking black people up for crack, for using it, and for distributing it. But it was later discovered, and it's a fact, that the CIA and the government was complicit in bringing this stuff over here. They had a hand in it. They okayed it. They benefited from it. They profited from it. Who's the criminal? But we were going to prison for it. So it's not that we commit more crimes. It's just that they don't go to prison for the crimes that they commit. You say be more independent, but we built Black Wall Street. We built it up, had our own stores, our own homes, our own businesses, our own community. We separated. You guys became envious, hated it. White people became envious and hated it. How dare we leave their grasp, their authority, and do for ourselves? Well, that's what you've been telling us to do. What did they do? They came and massacred the entire town. They killed thousands of people, not hundreds, as has been reported. It was thousands. The government, you go back and watch the footage, was dropping bombs. They unalived children, little girls and boys. You go back and see them lied out, unalived, in the street. A bloody mess. They burned down all of the stores because they were envious that black people had their own. So when you say go get your own, well, when we do, you can't take it, and you come and burn the shit down. I wouldn't suggest you try that now, but that's what you did back then. Committed a total massacre. Unalived thousands of people. I can bring you the story. It's very detailed and very deep of how it transpired. Many of you already know. But did you know? I'm sure you do if you know about the story. How many people were arrested? Thousands of people were unalived brutally in broad daylight. Stores burned down, shot up, bombs dropped. How many people went to prison? Because, hey, just don't commit a crime and you don't go to prison. You commit a crime, you should go to prison. Y'all care so much about the law and about applying the law. And that's why I said in my history and back in my day, I flouted the law because I understood that the law was not universally applied, that it only applied to me and my people. It don't apply to everyone else. It don't apply to Donald Trump. It don't apply to Epstein. Only later on with the Me Too movement. It don't apply to these cops who are out here unaliving unarmed black men and women lying in their damn beds. 12-year-olds in the park minding their own business. We love our kids too. But the law doesn't apply to them. How can I respect such a law? A law that told me in the Dred Scott decision that I was 3/5 of a human being. Well, hell, what the hell are the other 2/5? What the hell? This is a law that I'm bound to respect. How many people were arrested for the massacre? 0. No one was even arrested, much less convicted and did a day in jail. No one was even arrested for the crime. So it's not that we commit more crimes than other people. People have committed vicious crimes, brutal, barbaric crimes, crimes against all humankind, crimes against all of humanity. They just are not held accountable for said crimes. You will be. They will not be. It's not that, brother, you are innately prone to criminalistic behavior. No, you are not. You are a beautiful person, a beautiful spirit. It's just that should you find yourself in a bind and you can't get a job and you commit a crime, your ass going to prison. Whereas he's going to be considered an ordinary man who's just trying to feed his family. No one was arrested for the Tulsa massacre. You all know the story of Emmett Till, don't you? For those who don't, let me give you a brief synopsis of the story. Let me summarize it to the best of my ability. Emmett Till was a 14-year-old black child, just a child who had went out to Mississippi to visit some family. Just to shorten the story real quick, I may have to do the story on this. It's deep in detail and sickening. He went out there to visit his family, walked inside of a store. He's 14 years old. And as the story goes, many of you know and have heard the story, he allegedly whistled at a white woman, Carolyn Bryant. She became outraged. They thought that she was going to run out to her car to retrieve a weapon and start shooting. So Emmett Till and I believe his uncle, some family member, jumped in the car and sped off. Somehow she knew who he was, who the family was. She went back and told her family, her husband, brother-in-law, and etc., what had happened, that this little black boy whistled at her at the store. Emmett Till's family said that Wednesday went by, nothing happened. Thursday went by, nothing happened. He said by Friday, they thought everything was good. They had pretty much forgot about it. It was no big deal. The family member said that Emmett Till had implored him not to tell his father or grandfather what he had done at the store. 14-year-old impressionable boy. Man, don't tell him, man, I whistled at her because she had made such a deal about it. They said, okay, we won't tell, and they didn't tell his family, the elders in the family, what Emmett Till had allegedly did at the store by whistling at this woman. Friday went by, nothing. Saturday, nothing. On Sunday, they got a knock at the door. 2 men showed up. It was Carolyn Bryant's husband and her brother-in-law. She went back and told her husband, this dude whistled, little kid, however she phrased it, whistled at me, and she told her brother-in-law, or he then told the brother-in-law, however it went down. They end up at Emmett Till's house. The family is begging them not to take Emmett Till. They said, can you just whoop him or something? He's from the north. He doesn't know any better. He just came out here to visit. You know, he don't know how it is out here in the South. That you can't even look a white woman in the eye. That when one is walking down the street, you have to put your head down. He doesn't know this. He's 14 years old. They wouldn't hear any of it. They kidnapped him. They put him in a truck and drove off with him. No one had heard from Emmett Till for days. 3 days later, someone down in the river, in the Tallahassee River, was fishing and came upon a body. They went and retrieved the body. It was indeed the body of 14-year-old Emmett Till. This transpired August 28th, 1955. He had just turned 14 July 25th, the year before, or that year, July 25th of that year. So he was just barely 14. He was almost 13. He was a month away. He was one month and 3 days removed from being 13 years old, but he was 14. And his body is sickening and it's unrecognizable. You would have to go online and Google Emmett Till, and they have it right there because his mother demanded that they had an open casket funeral. She allowed Jet magazine to take pictures of Emmett Till, hundreds of photos. And Jet magazine posted these photos in Jet magazine. And the world was somewhat outraged. And they were certainly sickened and shocked at what they had witnessed. And if you go look at the pictures, I would just advise you not to eat first, because they brutalized 14-year-old Emmett Till. They beat him senseless. They dislodged his right eye from his socket. In fact, his right eye in the picture is all the way down to the middle of his cheek. They choked out his tongue. They choked him so violently and viciously that his tongue came out of his mouth. His tongue. Can you imagine the kind of strength and power it would take to just choke someone's tongue out of their mouth? They then crushed the back of his skull. They then shot him in the head. The body was found 3 days later, wrapped up in barbed wire in the Tallahassee River. And it was weighed down. He had some gin weight or some 70-pound weight tied to him. And eventually, the two were arrested for the crime, only amongst some outrage. They had admitted to taking Emmett Till. They admitted to it, but they said that they had dropped him off somewhere and never saw him again. Their defense was in trial that Emmett Till was still alive. This was their defense, because you cannot recognize anyone on that picture. You don't know who that person is. Again, The picture is gory. I really advise against it, even looking at something like that. It's the most horrific thing I've ever seen. And the mother sat there and had to see her 14-year-old child like that because he allegedly whistled. Didn't assault, didn't put his hands on anyone. He allegedly whistled at a woman. Their defense is that he, Emmett Till, was still alive and living with his grandfather out of state somewhere. His mother had testified, and the prosecutor asked her, isn't it true that your son is still alive, living out of state with his grandfather? This was their defense. They had an all-white jury of 12 white men, all white. They took 67 minutes to deliberate. One juror later said that the only reason that it took so long was that they had to stop to drink some soda pop. Reporters also reported that they heard the jurors in there laughing. And of course, they were acquitted. They didn't do 1 day in jail. This is what I mean about the system. I can do a robbery and go to prison for 20 years. They can dislodge someone's eye, crush their skull, shoot them in the head, wrap them up in barbed wire, throw them in a river, and not do 1 day in jail. So it's not that I commit more crimes than them. It's not, brother, that you commit more crimes than them. It's that they don't go to prison for the crimes that they commit. They're crimes against humanity. How dare you, with all of this blood dripping from your hands, point your bloody finger at me? See my hands? Look. No blood. No blood. So I'll speak. When it's time to talk about the system, I'll speak. You don't speak because you have too much blood on your hands to speak on it. I don't. So I'll speak. Back in 2010, I was in a dorm with Crypto from Lem 8 East Coast. I told y'all about him yesterday. Him and I were cool. Big dude, as I said. Another dude from East Coast was in there. I believe his name was Man. Or it may have been something before the Man. S-Man, C-Man, I don't know. Big Man, I can't recall. He was a big dude. I don't know why I'm thinking he's from 6 Deuce. Big dude. Crypto from Lem 8, I remember. Big dude. Short hair, waves, kind of fat and chubby, but big, but some sort of muscle to it. Just maybe a little bit shorter than Crypto, maybe about the same height. Bam from Black P Stone was in the dorm. Cheese Ball from Bonnie Hannes was in the dorm. My homie Mac, he resting in peace now, from 9-4 was in the dorm. We used to all be in there shooting dice. Canteen nights was big dice nights because everybody had a lot of canteen that first night. And second night and third night be pretty big dice nights too. Sometimes we would make the dice out of bread, let the bread harden up, put water on it, mark the dots on there. Sometimes people make them out of soap, the white soap, let them harden up, and people in there shooting dice. Sometimes we had real dice. And canteen is a hot commodity in there, soups, chips, soap, and we've been there shooting dice all night in the dorm. And everybody was cool inside the dorm. Mad Dog from Swan had the dorm. I took the dorm over a couple days after I got in there. The blacks wanted me to take the dorm over. And after I saw how it was being ran, I had to take it over because my people were not really being treated right by anyone, the police or other races. But I put a stop to it immediately. Long story short. Everyone in there is getting along. I came up with a little night call for the blacks. We didn't have a night call. I came up with a little night call that was in Swahili. Everybody was saying a night call in unison, and we were all getting along. as I said, I went to court with Crypto a couple of times. Everything was cool between him and I always thought that he was a cool dude. I didn't think, at that time he wasn't really running his mouth that much, but he was putting it on thick in some ways. But I don't know him. I don't know, maybe he really is like that. About that life, just like that. Some people are like that. And everything is functioning just fine inside the dorm. I got love for the East Coasters. Most people will tell you that if it's any so-called opposition, when I used to think like that back in those days, that I had a lot of respect or love for, it would be the East Coasters. I grew up with some dudes from East Coast. I got two my cousins, two OGs from 9-7 East Coast. I fucks with the East Coasters. So me and Crypto, we got along. And me and Man did as well. One day I went to court. And when I came back in the dorm, as soon as I walked in the door, the blacks was waiting on me. Some Damus, Rod Dog from Inglewood family. I was in YA with him. He was in the dorm with me. Big Rod Dog, the homie. We was all in there. They all at the door waiting on me like, bro, I'm like, what's up? And like, man, and they tell me, they like, man, Crypto got into it with the homie, with your homie, with my homie from 9-4. And everything was cool. They like had a little squabble or something. But this other dude from East Coast, like, was acting like he had a knife. And then he like basically like halfway pulled it out. He didn't like swing it or attack or nothing. He was like standing back. But they just having a head of fight, bro. And he pulling out a weapon. I'm like, what they squabbling? I'm like, what? So I'm finna run over there, first of all. And the homie telling me, and the homie who had got down with the dude, he telling me too. I'm like, man, let's go get these fools right now. But the blacks, they was like, nah, bro, we all want to get involved in this, man, because they doing too much, bro. I understand that this is not a Hoover and East Coast thing, bro. It was a Hoover and the East Coast that squabbled. For whatever reason, Crypto come at this dude and he want to squabble all of a sudden when you're not in the dorm, when you go to court, because when you in here, everything is cool. All of a sudden, he want to come at the homie aggressively and they squabble. But this dude want to pull out a knife. As blacks, bro, we all together up in here. As blacks, we take umbrage to that and we want to handle that, bro. I'm like, so what y'all want to do? Like, man, we all just want to get our licks in on these fools, run their ass about the dorm. Fuck them. And any of their homies that want to jump in and help, fuck it, bro, it's on. It's basically the Damus that's saying this, and there's some Crips in there as well. Dude from Broadway is up in there. Some other dudes. Dude from Grape Street is up in there. Couple dudes from Grape Street. And so I'm like, all right, whatever. We'll wait till the night then. Crypto, he come to me though. He explaining what happened. So was man. I'm like, man, but bro, you pulling a weapon on a homie. That's unacceptable. He's claiming that he didn't do that. He's saying that he had just had his hand in his pocket and that the blacks are exaggerating by saying that he put out a weapon or that he had a weapon, that he did not have a weapon, that he would never do that he knows that that's against the protocol. Yes, sir. But the blacks are saying that this did indeed happen. Many of them are saying that they saw the knife. So it's clear that he did indeed do it. It's just that now there's a lot of tension in the dorm. The blacks are over here grouping up. They are not there. They are disallowed to come and group up with us. So they're feeling left out of the conversations that we're having. They're knowing that they're on a chopping block. I'm over here, I'm steaming. I just want to get my thing and really get off on a dude right now, bro, for pulling out the weapon. That's really the protocol. And I'm really telling the homie, this ain't about these other dudes. And I'm telling the blacks too, man, this is really us though, bro. You know what I'm saying? Because he put a knife on the homie. But I understood what they were saying as well. They didn't want to make it a Hoover and East Coast thing. They like, nah, bro, he put a knife on a black, bro. You know what I'm saying? And we ain't playing that. So I eventually respected it, bro. But I didn't want to wait till that night. But because I like to go on the offensive, like I said. I don't like waiting around. We waited for the lights to go out in the dorm. They go out at about 10 o'clock. as soon as the lights went out, all the blacks grouped up in the aisle and called Crypto over there first. His homeboy following him over there. And so Bam started talking first. I'm just sitting right there, right? I got my hand in my pocket. Yeah, I do got a tool. So does the homie. We right there. And Bam like, man, what's up with you pulling out a weapon on another black, bro? Talking to the dude, man. Crypto, he intervened immediately before man can even answer. He say, man, I'm about my blackness, man, but his voice started getting a little shaky. He said, man, I'm about my blackness, man. Ain't nobody pulling no knives, man. It was just me and the homie had a little fight. Now it's the homie. Me and the homie had a little fight, and that was it, bro. That wasn't even on no gang banging shit, bro. We just had words. So you didn't fight the homie because he was from Hoover? You ain't fought nobody else in the dorm? Okay, whatever. We're past all that now. So the blacks like, so Bam like, nah, man, this dude put a knife, bro. Let him speak for himself, bro. Did you pull a knife? He's like, no, bro, I just had my hand in my pocket. And when he said that, I fired on him, the dude, man, right? I fired on him. Bam. Now look, I swear, I could promise you that man, that Bam told me that man had got his tooth knocked out. I don't know. I never confirmed this, but so I fired on him. Right, he fell back some. He grabbed onto the bunk, and then like 3 other blacks got on him, bro. And I did pull out my thing, bro. You know what I'm saying? And I was about to poke him, but I swear to God, a black grabbed me. You know what I'm saying? Grabbed my hand like, no, bro, no. But you know the rules is once you pull it out, you really gotta use. You're really supposed to use it. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, man, what? You know, I was upset about it, bro. You're like, no, bro, cause we already fucking him up. You know what I'm saying? And they never, but he put out a weapon though, even though he didn't use it. I'm assuming he has the weapon on him. They know it's tension, bro. They know something's up. Something's about to go down right now tonight. They know it. And I'm thinking these dudes are strapped. So I don't want to take any chances. I'm like, all right, man. I actually put the thing back in my pocket. I still can't believe I did the shit because I still want to just poke him just 1 or 2 times. But pulling out that shit on the homie. But instead, we just fucked him up bad. Tiptoe, he tried to swing back like one time. Like 6 or 7 blacks rushed him. Yeah, 6 or 7, bro. They did. It was the whole dorm. It was everybody in there. They was like taking turns, bro, rushing him. And finally, these dudes got away, shirts off, bleeding, and ran back to their bunk. Then they came in, the popo, and turned on the lights about 10 minutes later, acting like they was doing some kind of count. And when they passed by Crypto's bunk and the other dude, they told them to step out. I didn't see Crypto say anything to him, but the lights were out. I don't know how they knew who had got attacked. Well, I mean, they was leaking, but a few people had blood on them and this, that, and the other. They took their shirts off and laid down in the bunks for count. So I'm like, they had no, I don't know, man. Somehow they got both of them and told them to step out, and they never came back into the dorm. And that was it. They never came back into the dorm. Then I saw Crypto later, as I said, in the court holding tanks. So I'm thinking, for sure, he gonna want to squabble. This was some years later when I saw him. This happened in 2010. This was like 2015, like I said, when they got into it with C-Nut from Do-Rock, or 2014, 2013, whatever. It was something like that, because I got locked up in January 2013, so it might have been 2013. But it was still 3 years later or whatever. But I know he remembers what happened in the dorm. So I'm thinking, okay, I recognized him immediately. I'm thinking, okay, he gonna want that. We gonna have to squabble, you know. So I'm like, what's up, bro? You Crypto, right? Yeah, he like, yeah. I'm like, you remember me? I'm China Man. I'm a little China Man from 11 Deuce Hoover. Like, oh yeah. What up, bro? What up, bro? I remember you. What up? I'm like, you shit ain't nothing, man. Just we in the court time. I'm about to go into court and fight my case. He in here fighting whatever case he fighting. I'm like, man, maybe we can squabble after this damn court date. If we got to squabble before I go in the courtroom, I'm gonna hurt this dude. Be acting like he just has to squabble right now. But Instead, he was just like, oh, what's up, man? You know, whatever. And he told me about some case he was in there on and where he was at in Wayside or county jail, wherever he was at. And at that time, his tooth was gone. And that was it. We just had a little conversation. I'm like, all right. It was time for me to go. I'm like, all right, bro. I hollered. I'm like, all right. And that was it. You know, I ain't asked him for a fade. I ain't have a reason to. I mean, he had squabbled with the homie, and then his homie had put out the weapon, you know, or whatever. Fake put it out, halfway put it out. They got smashed. They got smashed pretty bad in the dorm, bro, by all the blacks. And so, you know, if he wanted to fade, I'd have gave it to him. Even though at that time, I was really done fighting. You know, I've been done fighting years ago. I really ain't fighting. The homie, man, you know, situations I got into a couple. My saying was, I ain't fighting nothing but this case. Everything, ain't nothing else getting no squabble. Everything else, you got to get I'm too damn old. Smoking cigarettes and shit. I ain't got time to be out here wrestling with y'all young motherfuckers. I'm gonna get it over with. So that was the end of that with me and Crypto. And whatever the other dude name was, something man or just man. From East Coast. It wasn't nothing personal. He drew down on the homie, fake drew down. That goes against the rules and protocol, and really, it could have been worse. I'm coming back up soon, man. I got so much other shit I gotta get to, man. Coming back up, man. Dassy is some of these people, boy. Stay free, people!